Welcome to Introverse.
Woo!
Because you never know when something funny is going to happen.
You never know.
Or interesting.
Actually, that whole bit with you turning the cap backwards.
Yeah, that's what made me think.
Was pretty good.
You know, over the top.
Over the top. Which is a horrible movie, by the way, dude. I don't know if you've watched it.
I haven't watched it in a while. It doesn't hold up, huh?
No, it does not.
The little kid was a brat.
The little kid is a horrible actor. That is his problem.
Yeah.
And so he comes off as a brat, but it's bad, dude. Like, don't get me wrong, the arm wrestling scenes still kind of get you a little pumped up.
Yeah.
But because Stallone's just good at that.
Mm-hmm.
But the story is horrible.
Yeah.
He steals his kid or something
Yeah, he goes kid. I guess it was the rich grandfather.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like the backstory was, I think, the rich guy with his daughter married the blue collar man.
Yes.
He didn't like it.
Right. And all rich people are evil.
And I guess they divorced or separated. And sometimes you got to fight the father-in-law, I guess.
Yeah. Doesn't he run his truck, his 18-wheeler into the house or something at one point?
Oh, yeah. Something very dramatic.
Yeah. It's very...
He did the thing with the hand first. Over the clutch.
Put the cap on backwards. And then
backwards.
Yep.
It's
like a switch.
He had the thing in his truck where he did exercises. Yep. But it was only with his right hand. Because you couldn't do it with the left hand.
What was hilarious, though, is Stallone did not have one arm bigger than the other. Because if he had been true to the role, he would have worked out his right arm.
Maybe because he masturbates with his left hand.
It's
not about arm wrestling. He's trying to get his right arm, evened out. He's evening out the situation.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen any real life arm wrestling. Some
just
of those
on
guys,
Instagram. Yeah,
some of those guys, their arm wrestling arm is giant, and their other arm is like mine.
Yeah, it's like some kind of science fiction movie.
It's like a cyborg.
So I found it interesting that you sent me a text the other day saying you watched the extended version of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
I watched, the Fellowship of the Ring.
And you're like, dude, it's 4 hours. I was like, dude, I just finished all 3.
Dude, it is 4 hours. It is 2 discs, two Blu-rays, and I watched it in 4K. I'd never, dude, I don't know if you watched the remastered, but it looks amazing.
Yeah, it does. It almost looks too good. There's scenes where it looks too good, and it's like it wasn't meant to be played in this high resolution. Mm-hmm. And it just doesn't look right to the eye.
Right.
There was a couple scenes like that for me. Well, not. You know what? You only watched the Fellowship, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Fellowship was fantastic.
It was.
The extended version.
There were no parts where I was like, that looked bad.
It was better than the original.
Yep.
The
Two Towers.
They decline.
Okay.
By the time you get to the last one, I'm gonna spoil it. You've seen the movies anyway.
I've seen them. Yeah.
By the time I get to Return of the King, the additional scenes don't make sense. They're not edited well.
Really?
And you're like, why are they putting that in there?
Yeah.
Just because it's an extra scene. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of that going on where it interrupted the flow of the movie.
I feel like that was the problem with the Hobbit movies.
Yeah. See, I got to go back and watch those. Those are on my list.
I never even finished the Hobbit movies because the first one was okay. The second one was like, and then I was like, I don't even want to watch the third one.
Well, the Hobbit, they took a book that was 150 pages and created 12 hours of movie. Mm-hmm. The Lord of the Rings trilogy, they took 2,000 pages and did the same thing.
Right, which makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Fellowship was always my favorite of the 3. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the extended version. I thought it added, the additional scenes were blended so well. You didn't even realize they were extended.
You didn't know they were added. It was really, really good.
It expanded Boromir's story arc, so he didn't seem as much of, he was more of a straight up villain in the original version.
Right. You don't see the character of him He's not a villain.
He's got that conversation with Aragorn.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think he's got 2 conversations with Aragorn that weren't in the original movie,
Right.
which is an interesting storyline because they're both of, Gondor and that whole royal family and stuff. And it's, it was really, and Sean Bean is great. I mean,
well, it's a whole power play. Like
yes.
Aragorn's the king.
Mm-hmm.
Boromir is not even the placeholder. He's the son of the placeholder.
Yes.
But he's okay with it, actually.
Well, but he wants that ring.
Well, he wants the ring because he believes that it'll save the city. And I think the extended version kind of helps that out a little bit.
For sure. For sure.
So
it also develops the hobbits more, not that they aren't developed, but some of the sub characters get more time. Is it Bilbo's birthday party? I don't think that's in the original movie. Not as much though. There's a lot of
there's a lot of little extra little
bits.
Little like 3-second things, not big.
Keep it secret, keep it safe.
But it's good. I'm actually reading. It's funny. You said all that when you didn't even know. Like, I'm actually reading the books and watching the movies.
I knew you were reading.
I started reading the book again. This is the third or fourth time.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, they're on HBO. Actually, it's on Amazon Prime. Let me watch it.
Right.
And I got halfway through. I don't watch it all the way through. I'll watch it for an hour, pick it up the next day.
Right.
Because it's a huge undertaking for me.
Yes.
Someone that doesn't sit down and watch 4-hour movies. And then the next day, Amazon took it down. Like one day I had with it.
Wow.
But they're on HBO Max.
Okay.
So yeah, I went.
That's so crazy how streaming services do that. It pisses me off.
Yeah, one
so
day.
Much.
Went to press play and it said, rent it now for $1.99.
Which isn't bad for the extended. I mean, that's cheap.
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
No, I was going to say that's cheap.
I ignore the price and say, I'm not watching that.
That's always the case.
For any money.
It's like $5.99. I'm like, that. But it's like, that's what I used to pay $7 at Blockbuster to rent a new release.
Now everything should be free.
Free to the masses.
Right? Free. Everything's free. You just have to watch a million commercials.
Oh, dude. Speaking of commercials, when Amazon Prime just recently said, oh, you've been having this service?
It's a class action lawsuit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the promotion is no advertisements.
Mm-hmm. Dude, for over a decade, no ads. Yep. And then, no ads. Oh, no, you got to pay an extra $3 a month if you don't want ads now. It's like, whoa. What you should have done as a business is offer a cheaper tier with ads. And the people who are in the current tier stay where they are.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have made anybody upset.
Yeah.
But
I don't actually watch much on Amazon Prime.
Well, I do now because I'm canceling all my other services because I have other.
How many services do you have?
I had 4. I just got rid of Hulu though. So
we have the cheap Hulu with commercials.
Yeah, I can't do commercials anymore, man. It's once you've had 10 years without, it's like I can't.
But we don't watch much on Hulu. Like we watch Bob's Burgers. That's it. Maybe $6 to watch Bob's Burgers.
It's $6.
Like once. We watch it like once a month when we feel like it.
Right.
But the commercials do ruin it.
Yeah, absolutely. And for whatever reason, I don't like them. But YouTube commercials, I've never had the desire to pay for YouTube without commercials because most of the stuff I watch on there is little short videos. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if I'm watching 20 seconds of commercials before the short video, I don't care.
I'm never watching YouTube for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always watching YouTube for, I don't know how to do this thing. Let me go look it up. Oh, there's a video. Funny, there's no other websites that have videos that show me how to do anything.
My toilet is running right now, and I need to know how to stop it.
I'll watch a 10-second commercial for it to tell me to go jiggle the handle.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that's actually what's happening right now. The toilet in
Don't you hate that?
I can't figure it out, dude. Like, I adjust it, it stops, and then the next morning, it's doing the same thing again. And I'm like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah. Charlie goes use the bathroom. You're watching a movie. Did you jiggle it? Make sure you jiggle it. Oh, you didn't jiggle it. Pause the movie.
He definitely did not jiggle it.
Someone go jiggle the handle. That was like half of my teenage childhood. I remember my dad yelling at me to go jiggle the handle. That's where that came from. It's like sparked a memory. Go jiggle the handle.
And then
The
years
water's
later,
running.
when you're playing Super Smash Brothers and they introduce
Mhm.
Jigglypuff, you're like,
Jigglypuff.
you got like a toilet
Mhm.
flashback.
Dude, there was the same age range. It was my birthday. I got a watch for my birthday from my grandmother. I was like 13.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I used to love watches when I was a teenager. I don't
Me
know.
too.
I loved them. I loved watches. Now I don't
We
wear
went through
watches.
so many
I don't need
watches.
to- I don't need to know the time. I have a phone. Everyone else has a phone. I look at the sun. So anyways, in the bathroom, I was about to take a shower, use the bathroom, and I'm taking my clothes off and everything, flush the
Sexy.
toilet, take off my watch, and I drop it. The second the water goes down, the watch goes straight down the toilet.
Oh no.
Instant. No like swirling around, just whoosh, doom, done, gone. I'm in the bathroom screaming, oh no, oh. My mom and dad's like, what's going on? And I couldn't even say it because it's such a shock. It just it disappeared. Gone instantly.
There's nothing you can do about it either. I mean, it's like call a plumber. It's not.
I went to reach, but it was gone. Nothing. A whole watch straight down.
It's never happened to me with a watch. That's a large ass object to fall down the drain. But
Yep.
I've had my wedding ring actually fly off because when it fits,
When
like
it's too
right now,
loose, like the winter.
but when I'm like washing my hands and it's the middle of winter and my fingers are like 3 millimeters smaller
Yep.
and I got soapy, wet hands, and then you kind of like fling it and then your ring just flies off. It's happened, like, a couple of times, dude. I was in the backyard throwing the ball with the dog and my ring flew off into the yard. And it was like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, where's the ring? And I looked around by myself for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm getting frantic because I'm like, Holly bought me this ring. It's not, it's not an insane amount of money, but it's a lot of money.
Did a horde of orcs show up while you were looking for the ring?
Just, I'm on my hands and knees, dude, crawling around the yard like, my precious.
For your precious, yeah.
And Holly comes outside, okay? And she's like, what in the hell are you doing? She thought I was really just getting down with the dog, like, because the dog is like in my face, like, yeah, this is fun. And I'm like, I may have lost a wedding ring. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I threw the ball for the dog and my ring went with it. And she's like, oh my God. So we were both Gollum. Like, we both down on our hands and knees, crawling around the backyard.
Dog went and ate it up.
And we're like, looking for this ring. And dude, it's a black ring. So like, and this is the late afternoon.
Shiny.
Yeah, it's late afternoon. The sun's starting to set. I'm like, oh my God, if it gets dark, we're never going to find it.
You're about to go invest in a metal detector.
Exactly. So you know how they say, like, once you actually stop looking for something, that's when you find it.
Okay.
I was like, okay, let's follow that rule of thumb. Let's kind of like, let's just stop. Let's just take a breath.
Hoping you're going to be like, oh, look, it was on the coffee table all along.
Right. I didn't even have my ring on.
Yeah, I didn't even have it on.
And I found it. It was nestled in a little thicket of grass. And
it's always the thickets.
Yep. And I was like, deep sigh of relief. And Holly was like, oh my God. Yeah, all was right with the world. And then I had to journey to Mordor after that to throw it in
to destroy it.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie, though. The allegory behind it. Allegories. So many.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic.
I mean, I feel like people, a lot of, because Tolkien was kind of a hardcore Christian, a lot of people equate a lot of it to Christianity and that storyline, similar to Chronicles of Narnia. But I do feel like Lord of the Rings has a lot more that you can cull from it. There's so many good life lessons and things.
Yep. It's way deeper than Narnia. Narnia is truly a children's book.
Yes, very much so. Almost every character
started out that way, but
that's true.
Tolkien was like, I'm steamrolling this.
Yeah, these guys are growing up.
Yeah, these kids need to step up.
We're throwing them into the fire, literally.
Yeah. What catches me about reading the book is the first chapter. when he's describing the Shire. His writing is fantastic. It's like poetry sometimes, not all the time.
It took me a while to get into his style of, because it's so different from what I normally read. I mean, it was written in what, the 20s? When was it written? 40s? Yeah. I don't even know.
It was the 1900s for sure. Yeah. Early 1900s. But yeah, there's little things, like one of my favorite lines, and it's in the movie. The good lines in the book, they throw in the movie.
For sure.
It's little simple things, like when Bilbo is talking to Gandalf, before his birthday party. He's talking about how he's getting old. But, he's aging crazy, like way more than other people. And he says he feels like...
he's over 100.
He feels like butter spread over too much bread.
Yes.
Like you can never have enough butter because he's a hobbit. But you can have too much bread. There's too much bread for this butter, Yeah,
it's kind of like the opposite of what we would think to say. Opposite.
He turns things around, and it just it's beautiful when you read it specifically. But it works. I
love how the hobbits are like Americans, like with the way that they consume food. Like they generally compare them to
love food. I think it's I don't think it's like Americans. Americans just eat. The hobbits cherish food. They enjoy it.
Right. It's on a deeper level.
It's a deeper level. It's a love.
Yeah, there's a relationship with food.
They're not fat. None of them are obese.
There were a few that were a little portly.
But not American obese.
No. Because they're farming when they're not eating. They're farming.
In the field. Yeah.
Exactly.
Here's a point. All right. Middle Earth wouldn't work in our society. Let me tell you why. I thought about this watching the movie. So they're called hobbits, right?
Right.
However, everyone else, humans, call them halflings. That's derogatory. Call me a halfling? I'm not a halfling. You're twice my size. You're a doubling. I'm normal. You're the freak. You're double my size. You're the doubling.
Yeah, doubling.
We're not halflings. Can't call me a halfling.
It is a little bit of yeah, there's a few moments where they call them halflings, but I do think that it's supposed to be sort of derogatory, right? Because I don't think Aragorn ever calls them a halfling.
It is.
It's the guy in the bar.
It wouldn't work today. Couldn't do that. Those orcs would be canceled instantly. Grab the halflings. No.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Search for the halfling. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's what the orcs and the Uruk-hai call them.
That's what Peter Jackson really did good with the Uruk-hai. The orcs, dude. They look fantastic.
They're scary. Horrifying.
They're scary looking.
For PG-13, it's horrifying. And what they do, they get away with like the blood. There's so much death in that movie.
They make it black.
Because they have black blood, so it's okay. And as long as they only kill like one or two humans, but they can kill thousands of orcs.
Thousands of orcs, yeah. And they never show like the penetration of the sword going in, nothing like that.
But there are a couple of hardcore moments in there, like when Boromir dies. It's a pretty intense.
Those arrows are like an inch thick in diameter. Goosh.
Dude,
like being shot with a spear.
The penetration is. I was like, how is he still doing anything?
Yeah. That's how that scene was good too, because you knew, like, he was doing a bad thing, but he wasn't a bad guy.
No, he wasn't. The ring, it's all power corrupts. It doesn't matter how good you are. Even Gandalf says it. He's like, because Bilbo wants to give him the ring, and he's like, no.
Don't tempt me.
Yeah, exactly. And the same with what's her face, fairy witch.
Yeah, the fairy witch. The I can never remember her name.
Galadriel.
Yeah, Galadriel.
She's like, goes into emo fairy mode when she's like, whoa, and she's like, I passed the test. Good deal.
Yeah. The book does better with that whole scene with Galadriel, because she reads their mind.
Oh, that's right.
Or, kind of reads their mind. She knows things. She knows things. Yeah. So they're leaving, right? And she's giving the halflings their thing. But the dwarf didn't get along with them right away, because dwarves and elves,
Yeah, there's some racism there.
Gimli falls in love with her in a healthy way, not like respectful way.
And very quickly.
Quickly.
Does not take him long.
And she doesn't give Gimli anything. And he's, but she knows he's like, why didn't you give me something?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, if I had to ask, I would just ask for a strand of your hair.
Yeah.
And it's like the most romantic thing, not in the romantic sense that we're used to, but
right.
And she gives it to him, to like 3 strands and braids it or something, gives it to him. And so he can go back home and show his dwarves how fair of a lady or something she was.
Right. Yeah.
And then like throughout the rest of the book, he's defending her from everyone, like verbally, because everyone thinks they're evil. They're evil.
Yes.
People go into these woods and disappear. And he's ready to go to war for this woman after that. That's good.
Yeah. See, I just imagine he took it home in his cave and he had it in his scrapbook and he just
probably
jacked
in
off
between
to
some pages.
He's like
stroked it.
He's wrapping her hair around his finger.
Well, I think it's safe to say that our partner in crime,
our compadre, is not showing up. I'm just going to send him a text real quick.
I feel like when I send text messages to people older than my generation, they don't respond timely. Like I'll send you a text and we in like 30 seconds respond.
Yep.
It's
weird too because I guess it's because
we embrace technology because we were such an impressionable age.
My dad's on YouTube all the time. But if I text him, he won't respond. You're right. He won't respond for an hour or two.
Yeah.
But I think it's because they don't place the value on their phones as much. And so their phones probably aren't around them necessarily.
Maybe.
I'll text my mom who will normally respond pretty promptly. Mm-hmm. But sometimes she's babysitting or she's, doing something else and her phone's nowhere around her. She's reading a book, Christian romance novel. That's her jam.
That's a thing.
Oh yeah.
So they fall in love, wait to have sex before they're married, get married, and then have sex?
No, they still don't have sex even after they're married. It's all complete celibacy. Mm-hmm. It's the romance part of the relationships. And none of the fun stuff.
Romance is fun.
I know. I was kidding. It can be.
Yeah.
It can be.
Husband and wife crawling around the backyard looking for a ring. That's romantic. I don't care who you are.
It is. Now, it would have sucked if we didn't find it. That would have been a different.
I would have rent a metal. Can you rent metal detectors?
At the very least, you can go to a pawn shop and get one for relatively cheap, I would think.
I bet they have a lot of them here because we have beaches.
Mm-hmm.
I bet all the pawn shops have metal detectors.
Oh, dude, Biloxi in the whole Gulf Coast.
Do that. As a kid, did that ever interest you?
Not really.
Like you didn't want to find treasure?
I did, but not with a metal detector. I didn't. I never wanted a metal detector.
Random?
Yeah, I wanted to be Indiana Jones. I wanted to go.
You wanted to go on the adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I was okay with the randomness of it.
Right.
Just go sweep the beach. Oh, look, a $10,000 ring. Told you I don't want to go to college.
And then as soon as you grabbed it, the sound of orcs are heard in the distance.
Yeah. Find the halflings.
What do they call the ring wraiths? Dude, those are the freaking coolest.
Those are cool.
Those are the coolest freaking villainous characters ever. And the fact that they are the old kings of men from the beginning story. Once you realize, right? Dude, it's such a great story.
Yeah.
It is such a great story. It's so classic. Like that's the thing. It's simple. And the main story is so simple.
The main story arc is simple. Nothing else about it is simple.
No. But that's what it's like Star Wars. All the best mythologies are centered around this straight line story. Like Lord of the Rings is Hobbit boy, get the ring to Mordor to destroy it. That's the story. That's it.
You have one goal. Here's the goal.
That's
what do they call that? It's a Alfred Hitchcock thing.
The MacGuffin?
MacGuffin. Is that a MacGuffin?
Well, like Indiana Jones.
What's the MacGuffin in Lord of the Rings?
The ring, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
It's one thing.
because the whole movie's about the ring. Like if you the first movie, like the first hour, if I counted how many shots of just the ring there is,
Yeah.
it's so specific. Like, dude, you need to know this is important as all get out. Like this is everything.
Because they showed the ring so much, how dirty is everyone's fingers in that movie? Especially when you watch it 4K, right? Like how dirty are their fingers? Like pay attention to it now when you watch the other two.
I've seen
it's like, dude, clean those hands. You're on an adventure, you know?
Never wash their hands. No, it's.
I wonder if they have the 72-hour deodorant.
I don't think they have any deodorant. I think that fellowship was stinking up the forest when they were on their trip.
Right. You have to smell right, especially Aragorn, because he's Strider, a ranger. You got to blend into the woods. You got to smell like the woods, man.
Dude, that bar when they go to that pub.
Fantastic scene. I love it.
So
I love
great,
everything about that scene.
It's so great. And Peter Jackson actually has a cameo right when they enter the town. There's a guy standing off to the camera right. He's on the right hand of the screen, and he kind of looks at them, and he just looks like shit. Yeah, I love that scene.
That whole scene. This is why it's great, because the hobbits are having fun.
Yes.
You know, because that's their personality.
They don't realize how serious it is yet.
Yeah. They're like, that comes in pints. You know, yeah, I like beer. It comes in bigger beers. Let me get a bigger beer, you know, like, but they're not stupid drunk. They're dancing and laughing and, you know, and.
Oh, a Baggins? I know a Baggins. It's because it's Frodo right there. He's cousin with, and he's like, oh, no. Yeah. Merry and Pippin, the foils of the film.
Yeah, the introduction of Strider's grease in the corner smoking the pipe.
Oh, it's so great. It
makes me want to smoke a pipe, dude.
It makes me want to wear a black cape and have a giant sword too, like that.
Well, that's a given. But the pipe's not such a given situation.
It's true.
You know, you don't always think about that.
It's true.
I think about wearing a black cape and a sword at least once a day.
It's so, dude. It's so iconic too. It was what was weird about that movie series is we went see it. I remember going see it at the theater, and there were scenes in it that just instantly became iconic. Like the first time you saw it, it wasn't like, I feel like probably Star Wars was like that. Back to the Future was probably a ton of movies that are like that, but you don't realize it at the time.
Right.
But I did. I felt like as soon as I left the theater after Fellowship, I was like, amazing. That was a freaking iconic movie. Like I'm going to watch that movie a lot. Like that
that movie. And you're the movie guy. I never remember seeing a trailer before a movie. I remember seeing the trailer for this movie in the theater saying, oh my God, I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. I know that there's a book or something.
Right.
I'm interested now. And I was hooked on Lord of the Rings since.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm gonna be honest. I read the trilogy after I watched the movies.
Yeah, me too.
And I wasn't a huge fan of the novels. Like I enjoyed the movies more than I enjoyed the books. I guess because
it's different.
It's a different writing, style of writing.
The writing is older. You got to take your time with that. You got to read it slow, just slow burn.
But I think if I reread it now, because I read it when I was in my 20s, and I feel like
reread it.
If I read it now as an older man, I think I may appreciate it better.
But yeah, I'm about to finish Two Towers, the book.
I'm still reading my Breath book, and I actually want to read. I have Matthew Perry's biography. I don't know if you ever watched Friends, but
what kind of question is that? Like you just asking just to fill in the void? I don't know if you've heard of this obscure show.
It's obscure comedy. It was called a sitcom in the 90s. It was a situational comedy.
Let me explain to you what it's about. It's 3 females, 3 males. They're just friends. They hang out in a coffee shop. Some of them live next door to each other. Some of them don't. Shenanigans happen. Ross loves Rachel. There's a whole thing.
What I would like to do if the book is interesting, which I'm sure it will be, I'd like to revisit Friends, because I know he's going to talk about how, like, during this season of Friends, I was freaking cracked out of my mind.
He had a lot of substance abuse during Friends.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
He said there's an interview or something. where he doesn't even remember recording them.
Like a whole season. He just doesn't
Whole
remember.
season doesn't remember them. It's sad, really. I mean, substance abuse, but I think it boils down to addiction, and that's a hard thing to beat.
Yeah, it's something that the human mind just can't kick if after a certain level. You know, it's just you need assistance.
You need assistance, yeah. Even when you have assistance, it's hard.
Right? Yeah, it's not something you can do on your own. Most people, I would say,
No.
you know, and I've fortunate. I think I may have an addictive personality because I have gotten addicted to certain things, but I've never been addicted to any sort of drug or,
yeah.
knock
No,
on.
I definitely have addictive personality. It's mostly with things, like doing things.
Oh, for me, yeah, that's me too.
Like I'll get into something and, well, there's an obsessiveness, I guess, too there. Like, I want to be the best at it, and put all my effort into it.
Right.
Full steam ahead.
Do you think that's something that it's more introverts are more attracted to that?
I don't know. I feel like you're just trying to bring us back to introverts. I think it's a personality that's strong in men.
Yeah.
To conquer.
Right.
To build something,
Well, I'm just curious because
not that women don't either, but I think there's traits in men, and women have their traits too. None's worse or better. We need each other. But I think there's traits in men that want to conquer. They want to hunt. They want to build something. They want to be king, and they want to mate.
Mate.
That's about it. Yeah.
Got to get their
Ultimately,
mating on. There's not a lot of mating going on in Lord of the Rings, which is kind of odd, right? It's a little asexual.
Aragorn and Aerosmith's daughter. I imagine they mate,
but they don't have a kid, do they? No, they never have a kid.
No.
And so you never see them they do kiss. There's a very chaste kiss on the bridge.
Samwise Gamgee does mate with the curly head girl because at the end they have a kid.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, he goes back to the Shire. Maybe that might have been a added scene too.
That's got to be because I don't recall that.
Yeah, I think she might be his actual wife.
Really?
I shouldn't just throw that out there without knowing for a fact.
So Sean Astin's real wife is the barmaid. What is it, Lucy Liu or no?
Yeah, but let me tell you something. Having watched all three, the hero of that movie was not Frodo. It was Samwise, dude.
Oh, for sure.
Samwise Gamgee was the hero of that whole movie. Yeah.
Oh, he was Frodo's. I don't want to say bodyguard, but like his strength.
But it's beyond strength. It's beyond bodyguard. It was like, that's the kind of person you want as a friend.
Oh, for sure.
Period. To help carry the load.
Right.
And then because that's what he did. At the end, he carried him.
Yeah, and doing the shit.
Take on your pain, but I'll carry you through it.
That's the greatest story of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I think, is the friendship between Frodo and Sam.
Yeah. His acting was fantastic.
That scene when Frodo's decided to leave and go off and abandon the fellowship, and he gets in the boat, and Sam is like running after him and freaking jumps in the damn river.
Jumps in the water? Doesn't know how to swim?
Doesn't know how to swim.
Those big hobbit feet and you can't swim? Come on.
All that hair just pulling him down.
Ugh. There's because we talked about watching commentary, and it's how I hated commentary.
Yes.
I like Lord of the Rings so much. Like 20 years ago, I had the DVDs and watched the commentary.
Oh yeah.
When that scene when Sean jumps into the river, there was a broken bottle and he sliced his foot right open.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy because you think that area is so beautiful.
Exactly. Right.
And you're like, and there's a broken bottle in the river. Like, come on, have we polluted every single inch of the earth at this point? Like even the freaking Middle Earth
even Middle Earth can't escape pollution. Boromir's horns floating all over. The names. How about because you're interested in reading, you're interested in it's the same as me. I would love to be a writer. I would love to be a writer, but I suck at it. I wrote a book. It sucked. You read it. It sucked.
I'm not gonna publicly say that your book sucked.
I don't care. You're my friend. Say it. It sucked. No one else is going to read it, but I did it because I wanted to do it and I liked it.
Yeah.
But how great is Tolkien at creating names?
Oh yeah, it's
all the names are fantastic. Boromir, fantastic. Aragorn,
Galadriel,
like dude,
everybody's name. Like really, I mean,
there's no bad name in there. The only thing that I have a struggle with, and it's when it comes to reading the book, is that Sauron and Saruman sound exactly
too similar.
the same. Like, wait, who is this? What's up, Greg?
It's Greg Freeman.
What's up, y'all? Sorry I missed y'all.
Yeah.
I'm here in Millington, Tennessee. Maybe I can chat for a bit. I just saw I missed y'all's texts about it, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to. So it's been kind of, so
we're being nerds in here.
Yeah, we were just both of us, unbeknownst to each other, we were watching we both started watching the extended edition of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's come up a lot in conversation. Extended edition of Lord of the Rings. A lot of people are watching it right now. I have some friends watching it.
What the heck?
It's come up. I don't know if it's like
something in the water.
Hurry, publish this.
I feel like it must be. I feel like there's a commercial or there's something about Lord of the Rings that's going around, or there's like a viral clip or something that's making people want to watch it right now.
Maybe so.
There's something like in the zeitgeist right now about
exactly.
That's so weird because I haven't seen anything. Like I haven't seen anything online or anything about it. I got it for Christmas. I think last year they released it on 4K, and they bought me the set for Christmas. And I bought some new HDMI cables for my 4K player. And I was just like, I need to test out a movie. And I grabbed the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Lord of the Rings. So like Fellowship of the Ring.
Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, the first part. Yeah.
Is your test movie.
That was my test movie. Yeah. Well, it was just the remastered 4K version of it. So yeah.
I had just finished all three. And he texted me, oh, I just finished watching Fellowship. I'm like, dude, catch up.
When I get speakers, or like when I get my sound bar, I like to test it with Star Wars Revenge of the Sith.
You know what?
And that's a really good sound, really good quality picture, everything.
Yeah. We can say what we want about that movie, but the sound and the musical score, it's awesome.
Yeah. What else would we say about it? Like, say what we want. What do you mean? Do you have some...
Yeah, it's dumb.
Opinion? Oh.
It's dumb. I love Star Wars. It's dumb, though.
So are you a Clone Wars watcher?
No, I'm original New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi.
Okay, so the reason
I have watched the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars are great. I haven't finished them, but they're great.
Okay, if you decide to finish the Clone Wars series, your opinion might change.
I've heard that. Yep.
On the movies.
I love whenever something else comes out later and fixes the previous stuff.
Yeah, they fixed it.
It makes it better.
They did. Yeah. They fixed.
Yeah.
They fixed
because they build up that story of Anakin and Obi-Wan that we're kind of missing. You know, because George Lucas we always talked about this. George Lucas focused on the wrong things in the prequel films. Like it felt like he was always one section of the story off from like actually.
Yeah.
You know, Anakin's too young in the first movie, in my opinion. You know,
well, he's never good with time.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, Jedi's, that's a rumor. Dude, it was only like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
He never was good with time.
But think about it. If you're
timeline is questionable.
If part of your plot line is going to be a love story between Anakin and Padme, why start the story when Anakin is a child and Padme is practically an adult? Like, either make them both children and do that story.
Line them up.
Yeah, line it up. Exactly. Weird, right? It always seems creepy later because it's like, well, I know the age difference here. Like, you guys are 10 years apart. Like, what's going on? Like, this is weird.
I wonder if she was supposed to seem younger.
Maybe.
In the first movie.
Yeah, maybe like 8 or 9.
She's supposed to seem younger, but women develop and grow quicker.
That's true.
Yeah. I know she wasn't going to be 9 years old in the movie.
Right.
But you know what? Okay, I'm gonna make a connection real quick. People that don't watch Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, like the fan base, like I am, that love both, they look at Star Wars and say, "Oh, it's science fiction." It's not. It's a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. It's got the wizard. It's got the knight. It's got the rogue. They go save the princess. It's the same path, right? That's a fantasy. It's not science fiction.
What is the ring in Star Wars?
R2-D2.
Okay.
It is. He holds the message that they bring in. Bring it to Obi-Wan. You're my only hope.
Or the plans.
The plans. He holds the plans to the Death Star.
Plans.
Correct. Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
So
is that why Lucas in the special edition added that giant ring around the Death Star when it exploded?
No, he added all this crap because he's.
But there's a giant ring.
I don't know how someone creates something so
flies
fantastic
out of the Death Star when it explodes at the end. It
just looks pretty. Oh, you're trying to make it like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a Lord of the Ring. It's like, it exploded, and look at the giant ring. It's space rings.
Anyway, it's a fantasy.
I suppose that, there's not a lot of science talk until...
No, there's no science. It's magic.
Well, I guess until the midi-chlorians are introduced.
That was dumb. The midi-chlorians. Where do you stand on that, Greg?
I think it takes the mysticism out of the Force, but I also understand... I don't have a problem with it as much as some people do. I think because it's a galaxy far, far away and it is a fantasy, I think there's a way to explain the Force in ways that don't make sense in our, in our world or in our whatever.
Well, what's interesting, like you got the originals and the Force is magic until we understand what it is. And then it's just science,
right?
Which is just like today. All these things we don't understand how they worked were magic or whatever. And no, this is the science behind it,
But I do think that takes away some of the...
It takes away from the movie horribly.
Yeah, because the Force...
I wanted it to be magic.
Right, exactly. When you're young, you want it to be... Even when you're old, I feel like you want it to be magic. You want it to be something unexplained that anybody can tap into. And you can also apply it... Well,
you have to be special.
Yeah, you do have to be special.
You want to feel like maybe you're special.
When you were young, however you were raised in whatever religion, because most people were raised in some sort of, even atheism is a religion, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it absolutely is.
But you can apply the Force to your belief system, whatever that may be. And I feel like once it's explained as, no, the Force is midichlorians that are in the bloodstream, and depending on how many midichlorians you have determines your Force sensitivity. Like, that takes away all of the coolness of the Force, in my opinion. And it's less universal now.
Have you, mostly as children, having watched well, maybe not you, Dustin, because you were older when you watched Star Wars for the first time. Yeah. I know that because you were with me. But Greg... When was the first time? First of all, when was the first time you watched Star Wars? How old were you?
I don't remember my age.
Good.
I've always
knew about it.
Yeah.
You ever try to use the Force as a kid?
Of course.
Maybe I have. Maybe let me. And you try to like grab the pencil.
I've tried to move.
Just try to push it a little bit.
I tried to draw the cup to me.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Spoiler.
Me either. I've tried hard. Tried real hard. Yeah.
The idea that the Force is less universal now. But because of what are you all caught up on all the Star Wars stuff that's out right now with Ahsoka and Bad Batch and things like that? So this is the discussion for whenever we all get there. It is like now anyone can use the Force, basically.
Right. Anyone?
That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of frustrating if you grew up with this.
Yeah.
The rules to the Force and to Jedi and stuff is starting to change.
Okay, so hold on. Is it a situation where everyone can use the Force, but some people are more proficient at it than others naturally? Or is it just about you just don't have enough education in it?
So the Force, Yoda says it's in all living things. It flows through all living
Flows
things.
through us. It binds us.
And your ability to tap in, anyone can tap into it. But because of the midichlorian thing, it's like the Force is actually these life forms. But if you were to tap in and quiet yourself and listen to the will of the Force, then like anyone can use the Force like a Jedi can, is basically
But
what
are they
they're
going to be
saying.
as powerful as a Jedi?
Well, you would think not, but there are certain people, and we can, you can look at the later movies.
Like the guy with the stick, the blind guy?
No, I would say, so you're talking about, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Great character in Rogue
Yeah,
One.
fantastic character. They need to do a spin-off on him.
I'm talking about Rey,
Yeah.
who is a more powerful Force user than Luke, who she had basically no training, and
she's the
Luke
Emperor's
trained
daughter.
for 3 movies. What was that?
She's the Emperor's daughter.
Granddaughter. But
Okay,
still, Luke is Anakin's son. So
but the Emperor was way more powerful than Vader.
no, the Emperor didn't think so. The Emperor didn't think he was more powerful. Anakin was more powerful than
He was
Emperor.
afraid of Vader.
Yes.
That's why he manipulated him.
Yes.
Snap, Greg. Yes.
So Luke should be way more powerful than Rey, but she's just able to use the Force. And I haven't even, because you haven't seen the show yet. Rebels, you seen any Rebels?
I've seen the first,
actually Rebels. No, 0 for me.
I've seen the first season of Rebels and part of the second season.
Okay,
but I never
there's
finished
5
it. I do know that it ends.
But there's 4 seasons.
Is it what? Is
you
it
know
4?
the names?
Yeah. I know some of the characters from Rebels are in the last season of The Mandalorian, right? Or Ahsoka, one of those.
Both.
Okay.
Both. And yeah, one of them starts using the Force. That's all I'll say. And it's kind of ridiculous. It's just like, what are you doing? I was like, what are we doing? What's going on?
If we're going down that road where anyone can use the Force, Robi, you read comics. Greg, were you a comic book reader growing up?
No.
Okay, so was it Marvel? Marvel had a series that would come out like once a month called What If.
Yep.
And it was just all the shows on Disney
actually,
Plus.
yeah, right. They have those now.
What
so
if
you know
show.
What it is, right? It's just
yeah. It's a
what if this? You know,
it's
they
like
take the
DC's
universe
Elseworlds, where they would do these alt stories, change characters around. Superman fell in Russia, and so now he's
dude, that cartoon. Did you see the cartoon of Superman falling in Russia?
I read the comic. The comic's great. It's probably the same story,
the cartoon
right?
is too.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, freaking Russian Superman, like Dolph Lundgren. I must break you.
Exactly.
Anyway, let me get back. Like, all right, so what if Han Solo was using the Force?
Yeah, that would be a fun episode of the show. But then, they would have to, even in What If, they would explain. That's the most interesting.
Well, you have to explain. Yeah.
You have to explain how you got there, like what choices were different.
Right.
With some of these, it's like there's all the rules of the universe would have to be different in order for this to work. Not like this choice was made, or this person died, or this person survived, and now we're here. Like that's different.
Maybe Han was using the Force, but didn't know he was. It wasn't luck.
Right. Well, some people say that's how he appeared to Kylo at the end of Rise of Skywalker. After he's dead, he appears to Kylo, and Kylo sees him as a physical manifestation of his father talking to him. How did that happen? Was he a Force ghost?
Oh, really?
Or was J.J. Abrams just pulling that out of his ass? Like, because he wanted Harrison Ford back.
Yeah, every living creature, the Force is in all living things. So then when they die, every living creature becomes one with the cosmic Force.
Yeah, right.
So at that point, he would be a Force ghost. The difference is...
I think Robi's saying, what if Solo wasn't actually there? Right? Is that what you're saying, Robi?
No. I'm saying that's why he shows up to Kylo in Rise of Skywalker as
that
an
part.
apparent ghost because he's dead. But he has a conversation with his son. Like, why is he there? Is it the Force? Is it Rey that's showing that to him?
Right. Like, was he the blue ghost from
Yeah,
Jedi?
he's not blue. He doesn't look like a Force ghost. He just looks like Harrison Ford standing on a green screen. You know,
there's a lot of
he is a Force ghost, but that's another thing. He shouldn't be able to do it.
Right, exactly.
Because if you look at Qui-Gon had to learn how to save his consciousness as a Force ghost, and then so did Obi-Wan. And then so like that was like the upper echelon of Jedi. It was like the eternal life, immortality skill that you had to learn. You had to like meditate with the Force. So Han shouldn't be able to do that.
No.
In the final movie, it's one of the something I hadn't even thought of. Another egregious Star Wars sin that happens.
There's a lot. Although I did love that scene. That but it's like
I was so indifferent at that point.
It was like I loved it in the moment, and then after, when you're thinking about it, you're like, "Oh, how did that happen? Was that why is Han showing up on the freaking
Everything in the moment about those movies are good in the moment.
You know what it
First
is?
time you say, "Oh my god!"
Is JJ is great at writing individual scenes that work as a scene. But when you put all of those scenes together, they don't make an interesting story. Then it's not a good story. It's a hodgepodge of like pieces of things that it felt like he was trying to undo The Last Jedi, and I don't know. It just felt like everything but the kitchen sink was thrown in there. Like, Chewbacca's dead, and then 5 seconds later, oh no, there he is. Let's do a whole scene where we mourn Chewbacca, and then let's bring him right back. Yeah. Let's wipe C-3PO's.
We mourn Chewbacca and C-3PO.
Yeah.
How about Chewbacca as a Sith Lord? What if Chewbacca was a Sith Lord?
There's a Wookiee Jedi character in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also get the evil Wookiee who fights the Mandalorian.
I saw that evil Wookiee's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was in
cool.
That was in Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett.
It's a Book of Boba. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Mando's
same show.
Same. Yeah, it became Mando.
Speaking of like, okay, so in Star Wars, you have all these races. What's your favorite race?
Of the like alien races?
Yeah, alien races. You know, like Wookiees. Chewbacca's a Wookiee.
What's Admiral Akbar? It's like a fish.
No, gosh, dog.
He is like a fish, but I don't know the name of that race. It is mentioned.
It is
at some point.
I used to know it. I don't.
Throwaway word somewhere.
He's a Mon Calamari,
which is fish, right? Calamari is like a
calamari has like a squid or something.
Squid.
But I think you're right. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, it is. I just googled it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mon Calamari.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and they're known for their warfare intelligence.
Oh, I thought you were going to say their trap noticing capabilities.
They're strategists. They're very good.
Strategists.
Yeah, strategists. Is it strategist or strategist?
I'm pretty sure it's strategist.
What about the game Strategico?
Strategic is the adjective, and then strategist.
But there was a board game.
Stratego is the board game.
Yeah, well, I called it Stratego, but I didn't call
Stratego or Stratego. I can't pronounce anything.
I can't. Well, I pronounced it Stratego, but it could be Stratego. I don't know.
You know, the first time I played that game was at your house as a.
That's a fun game.
As a kid, yeah,
it's a fun game. It's kind of it's an offshoot of chess in a way, but it's got more options.
Stratagema is the Star Trek game.
Stratagema.
Interesting.
If you're all over Star Trek,
they're all nervous. Like,
it's a true science fiction. Dude. So now we're talking science fiction.
There you go. Perfect. Science fiction, fantasy. You can't compare Star Trek and Star Wars. Two different things.
It's not a comparison. Just I like them both equally.
If you would though, yeah. You like Star Trek?
Yeah, I grew up watching and truth be told, there's more hours of Star Trek content than there are.
Absolutely,
for certain.
Like times
so
100.
It's probably shaped my life in more ways than Star Wars has, and I just haven't realized it.
I thought about as an adult. Let me ask you this, Greg. I want to get into Star Trek. Never been into it. Today, what's the best way to enter into Star Trek? Like, do I start with, gee whiz, what's the guy's name that played Captain Kirk back?
William Shatner.
William Shatner Star Trek, or do I start with Next Generation? Or
Well, how deep are you trying to go?
let's say I wanted to embrace Star Trek fully.
Then you got to start. You got to start at the beginning.
Watch Wrath of Khan first.
Yeah, Wrath of Khan's fantastic.
I'm saying
I've seen the movies.
Okay, so you've seen the movies.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't mind going back and watch
You've
them.
probably
Are you
seen a
talking
lot
about
of the
you?
original.
You're talking about you personally, or
Yeah,
just someone?
Me personally.
Okay, if you know the rules of Star Trek, if you
Yes.
know how that world works
Yes,
already,
I do.
then
They're just
say-
explorers, right? They just out to explore the galaxy.
they're exploring the galaxy. But you got to
don't
know how the
interfere.
technology works. You got to know
Yeah.
the lingo, like what
Yes,
warp.
I do. I know the lingo. I know the teleportation. The all
Beaming
that.
up. Okay,
Yeah. Beam me up, Scotty.
I say, me personally, you can start at Next Generation
Mhm, okay,
and just go all the way through, and
Yeah.
then watch Deep Space Nine.
I've heard Deep
And
Space
go
Nine
all the
was
way
good.
through, and then like if you want, if depending on how you feel, you'll get a good. To me, that's all you need are those two shows. That's
it.
how I feel
That's the
about
best of television Star Trek. I would probably agree with you.
Like, forget the movies.
it. The movies, if you
Even
love,
J.J. Abrams Star Trek.
no.
You like
Those movies were made for people who like Star Wars.
That's not. Yeah, those movies
Really?
are not.
That's
real
why I
Star
liked
Trek.
them.
Yeah, well, they're fun movies. I'm not gonna
I
knock
thought they were
them.
fantastic.
They were
Yeah.
just they're quality movies, but it's not the
It's not
essence of
Star
Star
Trek.
Trek.
It's not
if
true
you
Star
want to
Trek,
embrace
no.
Star Trek, then
There's
those
a reason.
movies
Yeah,
aren't it.
there's a reason the J.J. Abrams movies literally said this is an alternate universe. Like you discovered during that first J.J.
Oh, did
Abrams
it
Star
really?
Trek movie.
This isn't Star Trek?
No, it's an alternate.
Star Trek?
It's an alternate universe with the same
When
characters.
did it say that?
It's in the first movie. There's like
It's
a
in the
time
first
travel.
scene of it's established that it's an alternate
Yeah.
universe. They establish it.
Right. So that way, anything that happened, like, so because everybody was
What
like,
a
well, we're going to know
cop-out.
what's going to happen.
No, what a cop out, right?
Well, no, it
Like,
gave him complete
I'm
freedom
going
to
to
do
make this
whatever.
movie, but I'm going to make it an alternate universe. So if I mess up on anything, because these fans are hardcore,
Well,
we could just rely
It
on, hey,
didn't-
this is just
it
an
didn't-
alternate universe.
but I
There's
think
no way he could have done it without. That was the only way he could make those movies.
right,
Really?
because
Because
otherwise,
he had all of canon to.
yeah,
to- you
he would
to
have had to
incongruent.
he would have been slap it up against all of these previously written. That's why Disney threw out all the EU for Star Wars because they didn't want to have to
I hate
deal with
that.
having to keep track of all that shit.
It's true, though. There was a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I read most of them.
I say Next Generation. If
Okay,
you
so I'll
watch
start at
that,
Next Generation. That's Captain Picard, right?
Yep.
yes, yeah, that's the best. They do enough throwback and callback to where you can get the gist of the most important episodes.
And then
Because
Deep
I
Space-
think those episodes are more timeless than the original series.
A lot of them, yeah.
all of it.
Next Generation has Data, right? Or Data?
Data.
Is that his
Data.
name? Data.
Yeah.
If you make it through Next Generation, it is fun to go back and watch the original series with Captain Kirk and
I've tried. That is not fun.
it's not.
Hey, you guys, I have to leave suddenly.
Okay, man.
Thank y'all. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. There's a lot of comparisons to be made between the two. You know, I mean, they're both, like you said, fantasy. A lot of people throw in sci-fi, fantasy. You know, there's a reason why the Sci-Fi Channel had a lot of fantasy on it, because I think a lot of sci-fi fans are also fantasy fans.
They're all, they overlap.
Yep.
Yeah. Us nerds, we have a lot in common.
Right. I do think Star Wars rides that line because there's a lot of stuff that can be considered sci-fi, especially when you go towards the
like
Empire
warp
side of
speed.
things. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, light speed, all the spaceships and everything.
That's
that-
actually a good point, Roby. The Empire side embraces the science,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
The technology.
Right.
Then you throw one person, Vader, in there.
Mhm.
So it's like technology plus the Force.
Yes.
And that's what Vader was. He was half robot, half human.
And a Force user. So he is the sci-fi and fantasy.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so wait, is that how he brought balance?
Oh, snap. That's how he brought balance to the Force.
He brought the tech to it, the science.
He brought the tech, half Force. Balance, baby.
It makes sense now. We've just solved it, dude. We just solved
it.
The balance of the Force dilemma.
You know what I want to get into? Being a nerd, mech.
What, mech?
Yeah, like the big mech robots where you have a human operating these big robots.
Oh, what is that?
Like in the end of the Matrix, they had mech things.
But they have it in everything. What's
everything?
What's the movie with the big robots fighting?
I don't know.
Oh shit!
That's why I'm saying I want to get into it because I'm not into it already. I don't know anything about it.
Clue. I don't know.
But I want to get into it. Someone see, like Greg did a good job of like here's what you need to do to get into Star Trek.
Yeah. No, I did. I haven't seen all of Next Generation, but me and my brother used to watch it a lot on Tuesday nights when we would go sleep at my grandmother's house, and it was a good show that we both enjoyed. And he wasn't even a Star Trek fan. I wasn't really either, but we would watch Next Generation episodes.
You enjoyed it,
and we enjoyed it. Yeah, there's really good writing, and the characters are interesting. And
that's the thing. If there's good writing.
That's the key. And there's just enough action every once in a while where you kind of like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah. That's the thing about Star Trek. It's just enough action. Just a sprinkle. Are we done? Because I have to pee. If not,
dude.
I mean, we can do another hour if you want to.